best entertainment on the earth. Tune in for Comics with Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this isn't strictly a comic review. This is for Captain Marvel number 37, but I think this is kind of indicative of a lot of comics right now, and maybe is kind of the, I don't know, the central, it's the epitome of maybe where things have gone sideways in a lot of cases, because I think this comic almost hits every note of how, to lose interest and overall why you don't have this kind of build of interest and characters and other things. And before I go into it, I have not been a big fan of Kelly Thompson in a number of different fronts. But let me say something nice about Thompson. Thompson's Black Widow series was pretty damn solid. It had some decent action. It tried to do some different things. It invoked some different parts of the series and the character. So and the dialogue was solid. It had, just like Bendis, you can tell Thompson's writing it, but it doesn't become obnoxious in what it does. And this title, Black Widow, of course, was just canceled at issue 15, which makes perfect sense. It's one of the better ones, so of course we need to cancel it. Thank you very much, Marvel, for that. But talking Captain Marvel, so I'm going to break down this comic less as a review and more just what happens. But again, it really kind of defines a lot of what's going wrong. So first off, issue 37, Legacy issue number 171. This is by Kelly Thompson, and the artist is Julius Ota. Now, Julius Ota seems to be really a good artist, so nothing wrong with the artist, but really seems to be excited with the smirky face and some of the expressions. It's good, but you do kind of get... at some point you get alarmed. Now, it's not the artist's fault. It's just the dialogue seems to indicate a lot of panels where Captain Marvel's kind of got her brow furrowed and she's got kind of a wah kind of expression on her face, and that comes out a lot. There's a lot of kind of what I call bendy mouth art, which again fits the story. So I'm not dumping on the artist. The artist is, trying to do hero's work, making this comic interesting. But the comic has a beautiful R.B. Silva cover, great coloring, great kind of nice iconic image. It is the kind of thing that, they can take this and make a poster out of it, which is true of a lot of Marvel comics. A lot of the covers are really nice and solid with some really kind of dynamic things. This would pop off the shelf. And so you get into the comic, and this is called Road Trip. Well, there's a B in parentheses, so it's Broad Trip, because, there's girls and they're broads. Anyway, the comic jumps right into action, which is a nice change, I guess. But the action in this case is this very odd obsession that Kelly Thompson has with a mystical being called Snats. Now, what are Snats? They are a species of half-snake, half-cat beings from an unidentified dimension. And they have shown up, I believe this is their third appearance in the series. They're purple and green, kind of hovering, flying snake cats. And they first showed up during, I forgot. They're ridden by wizard bros who have just kind of an open shirt and pointy witches hats on. And they have cute little wands with stars on the top of them. So it's definitely for one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. It's, cat snakes with shirtless wizards and wands is a choice. Anyway, they show up, they generally get their ass handed to them, and then they go away. And that's what happens here as well. Now, the other part about the Snats is that they smell like pee, apparently. And that is, they describe it as a cooked cabbage meets cat pee smell. And that is referred many times. Smelly, that it just keeps coming up and up and up. So the comic features, in this case, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau going to be starring in, of course, the upcoming Captain Marvel movies. We've got to get her into more things. But they basically easily are able to defeat the wizard bros and their wands and the Snats while complaining about smells of cat pee. And, there's a brief speculation if they're Snat women. But then the other character that Kelly Thompson brought in, Binary, which appears to be a This is kind of the third character now in her run that shows up with no understanding or knowledge about human customs and is kind of a dopey idiot, but she's super powered. So she blasts things as well. They blast the Snats back into their portal dimension, and then they make some more jokes about pee. And then a construction worker comes up out of nowhere to Captain Marvel and starts talking about how she'd look better in a skirt. And then Binary punches him. And you can't punch men. And then Monica's like, I kind of think she can punch men because this guy's being rude. And so they get a little purple-haired girl to call for assistance. And the purple-haired girl is squeeing out that Spectrum talk to me, which, again, the entire dynamic here is very much how comics feel these days. It's dopey adventures, villains that don't matter and easily dispatched, a lot of kind of self-patting on the back about how popular the characters are, get some kind of toxic dude to come in who's easily punched out, and then off it goes. And keep in mind, I'm not suggesting the toxic dude should actually, get her to wear a skirt. I'm suggesting why you're writing this in the comic at all. So the characters are like, we need to get out of here. There's too much of a crowd. And so these three flying characters, okay, Captain Marvel, Binary, and Monica Rambeau Spectrum, decide to get into Tony Stark's car and drive to Las Vegas, which it's unclear kind of where they're. Well, they're in New York City, it says at the beginning. So they drive, they just start driving to Vegas, which is not a quick trip. And it's a little bit confusing why they would drive a car when all three characters can fly and fly into space really fast, but they go on a road trip. And this gives us an opportunity to have them go to dinner because, why not? You got to have some food. So they go and they have some food. And this gives us more opportunities to make jokes about the dumb idiot character who doesn't know what pancakes are and, can say hokey things like, this is, of course, Binary, although, girl, I have to tell you, this is officially not the normal amount of pancakes. To which the Binary goes, new normal. And then she goes and plays with a cat. And so there's that. So she plays with a cat, and then she gets hearts for eyes. And then they all sit on the floor. Keep in mind, if we were just doing the counts here, the comic had basically 3 pages of fighting the Snat Cat P wizard dudes, and then we get a couple pages of them talking in New York, 3 pages of that. So equal fighting and then talking around in New York about how they're awesome, and this dude bro who is trying to get her to wear a skirt. And then we go to the diner, and they the other part of this is as we go into the diner, we get a little bit of Monica and Carol basically change into civilian clothes so they won't make a scene, and Binary's got a flaming head and says, they're like, you might want to adjust your exterior form, and Binary tosses out in that innocent childlike way, why should I hide what I am? And Monica and Captain Marvel decide, we'll go in our superhero costumes. Of course, it's not about hiding what you are. I mean, they're trying to make an allegory for, I guess, coming out, but it's more like, don't panic the locals who are trying to eat pancakes. So we do get, we get 4 pages of eating pancakes. And then, sure enough, Cat P Snats show up again and interrupt them, having breakfast. And they basically show up and fight them some more. In this, the Snats start dropping acid. That make much more fun comic. Basically, blow everything up in the diner. Cars, things are getting wrecked. So thankfully, they were in their costumes, not hiding what they are. But presumably, several civilians, including these kids who had the cat, get horribly murdered. So they have this little fight. There's a scene where one of the wizards stabs Carol in the shoulder, and maybe that's bad. We don't know. We get a weird, goofy face the fact that this is going on. And then the comic almost seems to achieve self-awareness as Carol says, God, this is such an embarrassing new nemesis for me. Yes, it is. This is, again, not how you get over a character, but whatever. So the fight is, again, sort of quickly over, 3 pages, and the fight's over again. And then we get to, the next scene that needs to take several pages, which is the cat is dead. So the cat that gave Binary the hard eyes has died, and they decide to take the cat. They get to teach this dumb idiot about death, and they take the cat into the forest and bury it. Now, what's curious about this is early in the comic, we established that the cat is of the possession of these children, and that Binary can't keep it. She has to give the cat back to the children because, it is a foster cat, but still, it belongs to that kid. But they basically, with cars and part of the diner destroyed, they reveal that the cat's dead. Nobody knows what's happened to the children. I'm sure, maybe they're all dead as well. They're also buried in the forest. That just also happened off panel. But they bury the cat of these kids, and then decide, let's get to Vegas, because that's what you do. You got to have girls' night out where you can club. So they go to Vegas, and in comes the arrival of Hazmat, Spider-Woman, She-Hulk, and Lori L, aka the Accuser, who was the previous dumb idiot in this comic who was trying to figure out the human world. And then they all dance. And this gives us an opportunity to get panels like, is dancing why we live? More. And then they do the chicken fight. I've been to Vegas many times. And in fairness, I've been to some clubs where things were severely out of control. And I have not seen a bunch of girls in party dresses doing the chicken fight. But maybe I was in the wrong place. Whatever. So then they make some jokes about people appropriating Psylocke's costume, and Lori L, it gives the advice to Binary that you shouldn't watch The Bachelor because it will bring you heartache and pain, because that's fun. Anyway, this Vegas dance scene goes on for 3 pages, and then we go off to finally Carol's New York City apartment. And, they take care of Carol's cat, and then Carol disappears. And that's our comic. So if you're keeping track at home, this comic, which is the start of a brand new arc, gave us 3 pages of fighting cat pea creatures, and then another 3 pages of cat pea creatures in front of a diner. It gave us the horrors of very strange messages about punching people in the streets, burying children's cats without letting them know, and also that you can go to a club in your superhero costumes and apparently randomly just kind of take over the club. That's fine. This is, and in the midst of all this, blow up Tony's car because screw him. And this is your role model. So why I say this is indicative of a lot of comics. It's got a really nice cover. It's got where the writer and the creative team, but really the writer, seems mostly obsessed with getting the characters to eat and party and talk about how great they all are, because that's the majority of this. You get some really strange moral lessons where they're, like, hey, let's go into our costume inside this diner because that's not hiding who we truly are, which, again, strange message, not at all a good parallel for, the struggles that queer people go through in coming out. And then, we have this cat pea nemesis, which keeps going on and on and on. And that's it. And if you look at this run of Captain Marvel, a lot of comics are like this. And if you look at Marvel in general, a lot of comics are like this, where the fights seem to be an annoyance to the reader. The actual conflict is a frustration. And instead, we need to get to the silly, dumb nonsense, and we need to have little jokes. And we go back to the same things, because Binary is the same character as L'Oreal, the same, I know, the same character as the, whatever, that character looked like she was made out of stars from before. It's the same stuff. It's people acting not like they normally do. It's weird little wisdom that does not apply to the situation. And it's, Carol speaks for the audience. This is an embarrassing new nemesis for me. I can't believe I have to do this again. This is dumb, or you have to be kidding me. Yeah, That is the voice of the customer right here, who's reading this book. So anyway, but this is a style that certainly a lot of Marvel titles are going to. You can kind of go down the line, and I'm not just bagging on this one. This is the house style. Bits of this show up in Spider-Man. Bits of this show up in Miles Morales. Bits of this show up certainly in things like Silk or Spider-Woman. It's the same thing. Spider-Woman, which came out recently, had the same stuff where Spider-Woman's fighting, in battles, and anyway. At least Spider-Woman left out the dinner scene, but that's what we got. I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'm gonna review some other things. I need to get around to reviewing now that it's out. Batman Beyond the White Knight. I will do that. That's a great comic. I don't care what people say. There's a lot of very good stuff in there, and I think you would be, if you can find it, you'd be very smart to pick that up. But anyway, let me know what you think. Maybe I'm being too hard on all this stuff. I don't think so, but by all means, let me know your opinion, and thanks for listening.
The White House this week, President Clinton officially came out against same-sex marriages. What's more, the president said he is not too crazy about opposite-sex marriages either.